So, despite arguing for weeks in Thailand with Ducati dealerships that the Ducati Night Shift scrambler and scrambler models have a BTU unit possible because it's in the manual, which they're still denying. And I haven't a reply from Ducati in Bologna yet whether it exists or not, and if it does exist, the Bluetooth unit. If it doesn't exist, then why is it in the manual of the Ducati Night Shift? But this is definitely in the manual. It's the tender, the Ducati battery charger, yeah. And the dealership I bought my Ducati Night Shift from insisted there's no such thing, and so I got the manual and the part number. I showed him the part number. I said, if it doesn't exist, what the hell's this for? So a lot of people with the Ducati Night Shift and other Ducati scramblers, and I suppose other Ducati bikes, I will be reading it shortly. I haven't read it, just received it. Will use this, and it'll be in the manuals. But in Thailand, the dealership problem is terrible. They don't sell accessories because they're too stingy to buy any. Ducati don't send them any, of course. Luckily, Ducati Thailand have made their own shop in Lazada, so you can buy Ducati accessories. I just saw a racing kit because I want to get a Panigale B4S. And of course you need the suit, the leather suit with the knee pads and the leg pads. So I saw they have their own shop in Lazada. I actually got this straight from Ducati with immense insistence, and it took me weeks to prove them it exists. So here it is. I don't do unboxings. I unbox them and then I film them. So we're going to have a look now at this Ducati battery charger. So as you can see now, I've unboxed it. I hate unboxing. I just always end up scrubbing forward in those unboxing videos saying, just get it out, let me see what's inside, for God's sake. Don't want to watch people pulling it. And there's this, and there's this, and there's this. And I know some people love it. I just want to stick it in and charge it and see how it works. So obviously there's something there. It is, the charger. They've packed it funny. I'm a messy person like this. I don't like unboxings, I really don't. What I would say is I have a Harley Davidson, and the charger is just basically that, and that. It doesn't have any of this stuff. It's just a charger, yeah. Throw that out of the way, keep the box there. So basically there's your charger, exactly the same as the Harley. Oh my God, I could have used my Harley charger. But under the Ducati Scrambler you have a USB, obviously, so there's a to USB connector, or to the battery. So we're going to have to look at the manual now. This is really complicated. The Harley Davidson one is just a plug here. The bike itself has the mother to this. Well, one exactly the same. A pin goes in and this goes in the other hole. And you just plug it straight into your Harley. Whereas with the Ducati here, you can't get straight at the battery under the seat. There's a USB charger which is supposed to be for charging the battery. Although I don't see any USBs here at all. Except for this maybe. So we're gonna have a look and then I'll continue filming. I'm already in a mess down here. I took this out. This usually is covering the battery. So you're thinking, a lot of people talk about this USB charger. I thought this is where you're gonna put the tender in. No, wrong. With Ducati, a lot of the Thailand local mechanics, I had to take this screw out and this screw out. which are these. With Ducati you get a toolbox here which has these basic tools in them with this Night Shift. So I was freaking out because I thought that this can't be for a phone charger under the seat like that. I mean, on the scrambler, what are you going to do? Pull a 2-meter long cable up to my phone holder here? Which I am going to do actually, but it doesn't look very aesthetic. So anyway, I managed to get this off. And you just use a screwdriver here to take this off, and of course here, and here you have 3 different kinds of connectors. Yeah, so that's for connecting to the charger, to the tender. So you have this kind of connector, which some Ducatis have, the classic connectors, and you also have what they call the Ducati connector, which is probably for multistrada and panigale and stuff. I don't know, some models will have this connector with them, but there's no actual connector fitted, so you have to fit this connector. So what I have to do now is, so that I can use this to plug in like I do with my Harley Davidson. When I charge my Harley, I have down here, I stick it in here, a little charging device, as you can see, with a hole. And it's exactly the same actually. I don't know if it's the same size, but it's the same. And I just plug my charger in there and then go straight to the battery. So we're going to have to do the same thing with this. So I'm going to unscrew this, and I shall be putting this here, of course, red to red, black to black. You can see it shows you positive and negative. And then lead this wire down behind here and stick it somewhere where I can, well, see where I can put it the most accessible place for me to be able to stick the Ducati charger in there. Yeah, so these two connected, and then this one's gonna go somewhere. It might go down here and come out here. I might let it come out here so I can charge it here. Let's see where I'm gonna do it, huh? But not easy, not like the Harley, you just buy it and plug it in. You have to fit it. I always tell you, use a Ducati dealer. I'd rather get to know my own bike than have to send it 200 or 300 kilometers to a Ducati dealer. Most of them don't even know that this tender exists. In Thailand, they're really undertrained. So Ducatis are great, but the dealerships or the service and try to get accessories, they don't even know they exist. You have to argue with them and prove it to them before they'll believe you. So Ducati aren't selling very much except on Lazada, the products they sell themselves. Because all of the official Ducati dealerships, they'll sell you some bikes. They don't even have all bikes, to be honest, which is a shame, because I want one of every Ducati, despite the fact it's complicated to get into the engine and fix things, but the engines are so fantastic. Anyway, let's get this tender going. Battery tender for the Night Shift scrambler. Yeah? Okay, go on, go in there. Get in there, you piece of shit. See, now I've got the tender in there, it doesn't fit anymore, that plastic red cover, which I would take off and cover it with waterproof tape, but anyway, there you go. That's one in there. So now I have to take this one, it's going to be much easier, and whack it in here. But I'm going to have to look, this will be for those who have the 15 amp Ducati chargers, I suppose. It's a fuse or something, it's a 15 amp fuse. I'm not sure. So we're gonna stick this somehow, find some space in here like this, yeah, and then I'm gonna connect this. Probably see a spark first time I do it, and let's see what happens. Try the tender. And then I've got to see where I can stick it. Could actually just keep it under the seat, but I don't want to take the seat off every time I want to tender my bike. I don't want to take the seat off every time I want to tender my bike. So where can I get it down? I should have done this first actually. I should have fed this up through here, but never mind. We could keep it in here actually. It's quite fine. That's quite a fine place. Because the one complaint about Ducati is this here. They don't fix it. They don't attach this at all to the Ducati. That's my one complaint about Ducati, is that for 15,000 in Thailand, $15,000 motorbike, they don't even take some of this stuff. They don't even drill a hole here and strap it tight. It's wobbling around all the time, and it's crap plastic. Otherwise, everything else on the scrambler is fantastic. So I now have this ready, my tender. See, the tender is probably better under the seat because it's very easy to take out of the seat. You probably just keep my tender there. Keep my tender there for the moment. And then when you want to charge it, you take the tender and stick it in here. And when you don't, it's waterproof. You cover it with that. There's room in there. No, not a good idea. It has to go on top of here. Has to go on top of here. Because this has to go back on. I forgot about that. This has to go back on. So definitely has to come out somewhere over here. I'll stick it in the toolbox. That's all right. That's okay. I'll stick it over here. I'll feed it through here and stick it in my tool bag, because the tool bag here also goes in there. I have my tender. That's enough for me. It's a scrambler. It doesn't have to be super accessible, everything. Take the seat off, which you do with a keyhole here. Under here, you just turn it, pull the back, and the seat comes off. So let's get the tender on now. So as we can see now, it's green is on, yellow it's charging, and we follow it all the way up. I now have it going around here, the cable, and this is my charger. So I'll just stick it in here, or I'll just wind it round here or somewhere. Yeah, I'll stick it down here. When I'm not using it, I'll stick it down here. Maybe just take it out a sec. Quite hard to take out with one hand actually. So I'll put the cover on. We couldn't get it off with one hand, so I could maybe just stick it in there and put my cables here. It's a bit messy, but it's a scrambler, man. It's under the seat. Or I just put it in here, put the cover on. No water, that keeps water out. Anyway, you make sure you have that on. I'm filming with an iPhone one-handed. Stick it under here maybe. Stick it in there. There you go. That's it, just stick it in there. And then, where's my seat? Put the seat back on again. So now, I'm leaving it charging, and put the seat back on. You can do it one-handed, but you make sure you get, you get that under the lip there, in the middle. I'll just push it down and that's it, that's your seat on. because the only thing you have to do to open the seat is to stick the key in here, turn it and push up, and then you've got your seat off. Yeah, there you got your seat off. And just push it back, turn it back. Oh, you just pull it out actually. Make sure it's in the lip, and there you go. Very easy to put the seat on. Not easy to set up the tender, but not difficult. You don't need a mechanic, and I can tender it now. And it is being tendered. And obviously it needed tendering because the battery isn't full. This is for lead acid, by the way. It's not a lithium. It's not a lithium charger. So I hope to God that's not a lithium battery, because if it is, that's not good. You have to use a special lithium battery charger. But I suppose it's not, as far as I know. Most don't give you with a lithium battery. You have to buy those extra. So there you go, the Ducati Night Shift with the Ducati tender, and how to. So as we can see now, it's green is on, yellow it's charging, and we follow it all the way up. I now have it going around here, the cable, and this is my charger. So I'll just stick it in here, or I'll just wind it round here or somewhere. Yeah, I'll stick it down here. When I'm not using it, I'll stick it down here. Maybe. Just take it out a sec. Quite hard to take out with one hand actually. So actually, for about the Ducati dealership, and in Ducati, Ducati have made a factory in Thailand. They are assembly. One thing I would like to complain about is that for a $15,000 bike, the whole bike is covered in all sorts of bits of paint and spots. Yeah. And very, very dirtily assembled with the pastes they use and the glues and stuff. That for a $15,000 bike to come with these kinds of paint marks on them is actually a scandal. But that's not blaming Ducati. That's blaming the undertrained Thailand employees in the factory. All of this is horrible. When they delivered it, you know, they delivered it like this, sorry, with this paint on, which can't seem to get off. And I found that, you know, it's an aesthetic bike, and look, they deliver it to you with this yellow paint on it. And so I would definitely say, Ducati Thailand, you lazy duckers, you can't even serve up a $15,000 bike, which I'm very pleased with, and I'm happy with Ducati, and I think it's the best bike I've had in a long, long time. But just unforgivable to serve up a $15,000 bike, deliver it to your house with all these horrible paint marks on it, ruining the look and aesthetics of it. Look in that screw in there, just look at the state of that. Look at the state of that. So I would say for a $15,000 bike, the Ducati Night Shift is worth it. But the fact that there's a load of lazy, got high on amphetamines last night, factory worker kids assembling them. This back wheel was actually loose. I had to tighten it to make sure, because it was actually moving from side to side. So Ducati Night Shift, excellent. Ducati bikes, I think they're the best in the world for me. And I have a Harley, which I think are the coolest in the world. But to ride, I really like this Ducati Night Shift. But I'm sorry guys, you need to get your Thailand people to polish their act up a little bit. Huh? Porque è un cazzo. Es por un cazzo. Es una puta mierda. It's a load of rubbish like this. A 15,000 bike and you can't even clean the paint off. It's all over the place. It's supposed to look slick. So, critique for Thailand dealerships. Bangkok blocking the Phuket office from getting models. So I'm in the south, I should buy from the southern dealership. I couldn't, because they wouldn't give him a model to sell to me. Jealous buggers. So I had to buy it from them in Bangkok. So I've told Ducati about that. I was called by the head of Asia Pacific, the new head of Asia Pacific, Ducati, Mr. Gino, who is un cazzo, he's a cockhead, because he doesn't even answer me anymore. He seemed concerned, but then he wasn't. As soon as he seemed to have pacified me, gone silent on me, typical executive. So I'm reporting him to Ducati as well for being an asshole and making Ducati customers angry. Yeah, he's not interested. So I don't think the new head of Asia Pacific Ducati is good. I don't think he's going to solve the problem with the dealerships because he didn't listen to me with my advice. So I've been here 30 years and I know the problem with employing people in Thailand and getting people to do it the way to Western standards. So to Mr. Gino, the new head of Asia Pacific, I just say cazzo, cazzo, cazzo for not talking to me when I tried to help you. And to Ducati in Bologna, I want to say thank you for this fantastic bike, but that your name is being given a bad name in Thailand because they're doing it with paint everywhere. Look at the state of this. Mira, 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 veura, veura. Cazzo. Cazzo. È un night shift, eh? It's a night shift. Should look slick. Don't want a black tank with yellow paint on it. You don't want all this in here, green and blue and yellow on the tanks, huh? What's that? Huh? Che passa Ducati? $15,000 in Thailandia, eh? E arriva macchiato di macchie di vernice. Ma comunque amo ancora la mia bella. Viva Ducati!